Hey everyone, Alan Bauer here in Bay City, Michigan. And tonight I'm going to use a quote from Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, he said, when it came to success, he said, to succeed, focus relentlessly on one or two things. He also said, don't just focus, hyper focus. Think what really matters the most. And for like Karen and I, or at least I'll speak for myself here, my big thing is to have my two things are financial freedom and time freedom. So I've thought a lot about this. And, a lot of people, they want to have financial freedom, and that's great, to have enough money to do everything. But I've watched some people, they'll kind of become so successful, like in a business, they kind of work themselves right into where they don't have any time. I mean, they can be working 100 hours a week. You'll see some people that they just never get off the ground with the business and they fail at it. But then you'll see the people that go the opposite and they're so focused on it. Everything's about the business, but they forget about something else too. So that's why I really like to focus on two things. One is the financial freedom. Like I said, I want to have the money to be debt free, where Karen and I are both debt free and money's no longer a worry. And I've had a point like that in my life before. When I was working overseas, when I worked as a counterintelligence agent, it's what I did in the Marine Corps, and then I got out and I contracted for the government. Well, I made as much as $240,000 salary doing that, which sounds great, and you can really get out of debt quick. I mean, like in a few months, you're out of debt. The problem was I never had any time freedom. I was stuck working in places like Iraq and Afghanistan, especially Afghanistan. That's where I made the bigger money there. And it really sucked. I had a lot of money, but I had no life going on there. So it made me realize that the other thing I also want is time freedom. Because, like, when I worked overseas, it's like I had, you work a full year. I mean, you're working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, and more, if you got combat stuff going on or whatever, and you really have no life. And then you come back from the contract and you can only take off like maybe 30 days out of the year. So you're away from everybody. I mean, you're living in that combat zone like 11 or 12 months a year, and then you get like maybe a month break. Some people bust it up into 2 weeks, but I watch some people that do this, and like I said, it's great money, and they're buying these nice houses and all this other stuff, and they got cars and motorcycles and stuff that they get to go home twice a year and see for like 2 weeks at a time. And you get excited flying out of there because like, oh, I get to go back home, or I get to go vacation in Europe or wherever. And I mean, the cool thing is money's no object because you have tons of money coming in. So you can vacation like wherever you want, have this wild vacation, and it's awesome. But when you know that, you take off the first week, takes you a few days to get home, couple days to get home, 2, 3 days, and you enjoy the first week, but about halfway you're thinking, oh man, this sucks. I got to go back here to keep making this money. So the time freedom is really the big thing also. And a lot of times people have one or the other. Like if you're unemployed, you may have all the time on your hands, but you really can't enjoy the time because, you can't afford anything. You don't have any money, or maybe you got bill collectors hounding you or something like that. And that can be very stressful too. So the big thing for me that both of these do when you have them together, financial and time freedom, it takes all that stress away. It doesn't mean there's still not going to be challenges in life and things like that. But this is why Karen and I picked CTFO as the business model, because it does provide a true residual income. And we built up that residual income to like a full-time income, but again, we split that. We still have debt to pay off, things like that. So that's one of the things we're working on. We want to hit that financial freedom. So we're both going to keep working at jobs and taking that money and using that to, knock off debt and get us up, financially set to where eventually, we would no longer have to work a job. When you have your money, enough money that's making money for you, that's covering your full-time job, You also have residual income from CTFO coming in every week. That gives you a lot more time, financial freedom, and it can also give you the time freedom. Because what we'd really like to do is not be dictated like, hey, you come work here and you get a 1 week vacation. After you're here a year, we're going to give you a week, and then if you're here 5 years, we'll give you 2 weeks, and you're here 20 years, we'll give you three. If you're here 40 years, we'll give you 4 weeks. Well, I'm 56. I'm going to be 57 next month. 40 years from now to get 4 weeks vacation, at 97 years old, I don't know. That just doesn't sound like that great of a plan to me. So, I mean, if you're lucky enough to find a job that you love, awesome, man. That makes it so much easier, because some people don't want to give up a job, and if you love doing what you're doing, it's not really like work. It's it can be fun, but you still have to have some time off and stuff. So again, like Steve Jobs said, I'm just going to summarize it again. To succeed, focus relentlessly on one or two things. Don't just focus, hyper focus. Think what really matters the most. So pick your one or two things. What really matters the most? Again, for Karen and I, financial freedom, time freedom. Maybe that sounds good to some of you. Maybe some of you have some different ideas. Drop me a comment, like, what are the two things that mean the most to you? And are you willing to, focus relentlessly on those two things to make it happen? So let me know what you think. Thanks.